and you can make the difference. Call your state senator today and urge that senator to put students first in South Carolina by expanding access to educational scholarship accounts. The time is now to support South Carolina students. For more information, visit southcarolinaschoolchoice.com. Again, that's southcarolinaschoolchoice.com. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity, South Carolina.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. The judge presiding over Donald Trump's New York criminal trial has fined him $1,000 for violating his gag order and has sternly warned the former president that additional violations could result in jail time. Entering court, Trump said the gag order in the case barring him from making comments about witnesses, jurors, and some others is unfair.
It is unconstitutional and it shouldn't be allowed. And I wish people could move a little bit quicker, the appellate courts, because the whole world is watching this and they see what's happening. More importantly, frankly, they have no case.
Jurors today heard testimony for the first time about financial reimbursements at the center of the case. The tough economy is especially hard on children with an incarcerated parent. Heather Rice Minus, the CEO of the nonprofit Prison Fellowship, says household income drops by about 25% when a parent is in prison. Her organization is seeking donations to send at-risk kids for a week this summer at Angel Tree camps around the country.
These kids are especially feeling the pinch in these times. And for your listeners to step forward and be part of saying, we want to make sure you never follow in your parents' footsteps and end up in prison. We want to make sure you never need a second chance, and we want to invest in your first chance.
More information on Angel Tree camps is available on the website srnnews.com. The Hamas terrorist group says it has accepted an Egyptian-Qatari ceasefire proposal to halt the 7-month war with Israel. Israeli leaders later approved a military operation into the Gaza Strip city of Rafah, and Israeli forces were striking targets in the area. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 176 points, the Nasdaq rose 192, the S&P advanced 53. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a Colonial with high ceilings, hardwood floors, and a peaceful neighborhood. And you found it. Now, every Saturday at 6 a.m., you get to wake to the sound of your neighbor's leaf blower. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
Stocks closed higher on Wall Street, adding to last week's gains. Treasury yields held steady in the bond market following last week's big moves on hopes that a cooling job market could get the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates this year. Berkshire Hathaway rose after Warren Buffett's company reported its latest quarterly results over the weekend. Freshbet jumped after reporting better results than expected. The Walt Disney Company and Uber Technologies will also report their earnings later this week. The Dow is up 176 points, closing at 38,852. The Nasdaq gaining 192 points to 16,349. The S&P added 53 to 5180. New York oil rose 37 cents to $78.48 per barrel. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm John Scott.
News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. We're dry this evening, but overcast with a low of 65. Tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, a 20% chance of an afternoon burst. Hotter with a high reaching 89, and we'll make it all the way to 90 on Wednesday with a mix of sun and clouds. I'm Cal Moss with your on-point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Please press button now. No, that number's bigger than the one I said.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome into Sports Talk here on the Sports Talk Media Network. Hope you had a great weekend and enjoyed your time away from whatever it is that you normally do and got a chance to maybe spend time with the family. Maybe you played a little golf. Maybe you went swimming, boating. Maybe did some kind of hunting or fishing around all the weather, watched some sports, whatever the case may be. We hope it was a great weekend for you. Now it's time to get down and dirty. Another week of Sports Talk right here on the Sports Talk Media Network. Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Bergie joining us from the Bergie Palace. Back in studio tonight, Josh Cohen handling things behind the scene. Fresh from a trip to Jacksonville to see the Beastie Boys. How was the concert? Was it good?
Awesome.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah, I went to go see Luke Combs at the
Oh, it wasn't the Beastie Boys?
No. It was where the Jags play.
Well, I know the stadium. Yeah. Yeah, big stadium.
Oh, yeah. There was like 85,000 at that concert.
Really?
Oh, yeah. A lot of people.
So it wasn't the Beastie Boys?
Nope, it was not.
It wasn't Boys to Men?
Nope, it wasn't.
Kind of thought you were a boy band kind of guy.
I'm not. No.
But Luke Combs, huh?
Yeah, it was a great concert.
Super.
Glad to have the day off and glad to be back.
Good to have you back. I can tell you we're a lot better with you than without you. I can promise you that. Our phone number, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. Lots to talk about. We'll have Coach Jim Toman with us just a bit outside at 7:30 to break down the baseball situations involving teams around the state. 7:05, kind of surprising news today. Dion Bethea announced that he is stepping down as the basketball coach, very successful basketball coach at Gray Collegiate Academy in Columbia. He's going to join the coaching staff at Georgia Southern. So he's going to take the step into college basketball. We'll talk with him about his journey through Gray Collegiate from the AAU ranks. You know, he was an AAU coach, basically, before he got involved with Gray Collegiate and won numerous state championships there. And now he's going to take it to the collegiate ranks. Bergie joins just coming off the anniversary weekend. I hope everything went well.
Oh, we had a tremendous weekend. Thank you. Sat and watched it rain most of the weekend, especially yesterday. Finn spent most of the time in the bathroom trying to hide from the thunderstorms. But otherwise, yeah, I had a nice weekend. Finn, not so much. He is not a fan of loud noise. And, of course, dogs can hear thunder coming a lot sooner than we can. So when he started to head towards the bathroom, we knew something was up.
All right, explain that. How can they hear thunder before we can?
Their hearing is just considerably better than ours.
Okay. That's something new. I didn't know that as a dog owner.
Yes, dogs' hearing and smell. Those senses are extremely good, extremely strong. That's why you see so many dogs turn into bomb sniffing dogs and drug sniffing dogs and the like, because of that sense is highly advanced compared to us humans. So, but yeah, he's not a fan of loud noise. It wasn't a problem for him when he was a puppy, but a thunderstorm hit here a year or so ago and almost hit the house, and ever since it has not been a fun thing. So he'll actually get into the bathtub.
I think that dogs are more advanced than humans in a lot of different ways.
He may be the smartest one of the three of us. I'm not so sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got a lot to talk about. I'm seeing a note here from Jordan Kay of the State. Shane Beamer must be speaking somewhere tonight, one of the Gamecock Club stops, and he said Lenora Sellers is South Carolina's starting quarterback heading into fall camp. He will still have to compete with Robbie Ashford. So nothing new that anybody didn't expect there, but I guess now it's on the record from Shane Beamer that it will be Lenora Sellers going into fall camp as the starting quarterback. So there you go. That's
it's interesting because he's here in Florence tonight, Phil, and I'm wondering if because he's here in Florence, and I think Lenoris is at that Gamecock Club stop as well. Maybe it's to entice some of the Gamecock Club members here in town. Hometown boy is going to be the starter going into the fall. I mean, it's not an announcement we didn't anticipate. I think it's fairly obvious. I am surprised, though, he would mention it on one of his welcome home tours when he wasn't comfortable enough admitting it after the spring game. Why not just keep that to yourself? But I believe timing and location probably had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. They're always thinking about how to make the people happy that you're around, how to look ahead to recruiting, if this has any impact on recruiting. But look, we all knew this was the case. It was just a matter of him stepping up and saying it. And so, yeah, this seems like an appropriate time in the kid's hometown, in his own backyard. Why not go ahead and make the announcement then when asked? So, and now there's clarity. The team knows who they will be rallying around in the summertime. And I don't believe that Jordan Sellers is, just from what I've been able to watch, not going to be a guy that's going to take his eye off the ball simply because now he's been officially named the starting quarterback. I think that he'll continue to work as hard as he can to improve his craft and try to, there'll be, as a first-time starter, it's going to be a lot of things he's going to have to learn on the run. But the positive thing is he's now going into his second year with the same quarterback coach, with the same system. So in a system that's sort of being designed for him, I would say. I'm sure they're putting in a lot of things that fit his skill set, his ability to roll out, his ability to run, and, of course, his ability to throw. And, I mean, he should just take right off in this offense. Now, a key part will be getting on the same page with a bunch of these new receivers that they have brought in, because there's a lot of inexperience in the receiving room as far as guys who've been in this system. They're going to have to work long and hard together this summer to get as familiar with one another as they can.
I will ask the question because it's the new era of college athletics. You're Robbie Ashford. You transferred in with, I'm sure, the notion that I was going to, at worst, compete for the starting job, if not be the starter. What does he do? What is he thinking?
Well, he can't do anything because the window's closed.
Right.
So there's nowhere to go, number one. And I'm sure, as honest as they seem to be, as Shane Beamer, says that he is, and talking with the players, I'm sure they laid it out for him. Like, hey, you can come in here and compete, but Jordan Sellers right now is the guy. I'm sorry, I say Jordan. Lenora Sellers right now is the guy that we are looking at to be the starting quarterback. He's been here. He's a guy we recruited. He knows our system, et cetera, et cetera. You're welcome to come in and compete, and we'd love to have you in the quarterback room, and you can be a valuable asset either as a starter or a backup. But this is what you're going to be up against when you come in.
He also had a couple of other announcements. I don't know if we've known this, but they'll report, the players will, on August 1st for preseason camp. August 2nd will be their first day of the fall practice. And Vershawn Lee, according to David Kleininger, has had to go home for a couple of days to have his wisdom teeth extracted.
Ooh.
And having had that process done before, I understand why you want to go home and rest.
Yeah.
That is major surgery.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so some news there from Shane Beamer to kick off things there in Florence. You should have gone over there to have dinner.
I should have. I did not get an invitation from them.
Well, I mean, just show up. Just tell them who you are. Crash the party. Just
well,
plan to go in and crash the party.
I got so gun shy when I saw what Clemson's doing with their, tours around the state, and none of the coaches are available to visit with the media anymore. I know the Gamecocks aren't obviously doing that because Shane Beamer's talking to the media now, but yeah, I don't know if the welcome home tour, it appears to be more welcoming than the IPTE tour.
Yeah.
Evidently, at least for us media members.
Yeah. IPTE, they're not interested in you talking to Dabo Sweeney or
not at all.
Any of those people, or Brad Brownell. Speaking of Brad Brownell, where's his contract extension and his raise and all that? Here we are now. It's May. It's May the 6th. Season's been over a month. What's the deal? What do you think the hang-up is there? Is there a hang-up? Why are they waiting? What are they waiting on?
You know, what was it, a week or so ago that you were off and Smitty and I were hosting, I brought that same point up, and that was 2 weeks ago. And I don't think Graham Neff is in any hurry to do anything with his contract. If I'm not mistaken, there's another year or two maybe on his current deal. So maybe he's in a wait-and-see mode, and if Brownell does what we anticipate he'll do, because I think he's the right guy for that job and has done a fabulous job, maybe they'll revisit this after next season. But, yeah, if they haven't done anything by now, they're probably not going to do anything, I wouldn't think, anytime soon. Could be wrong.
I mean, they got to do something. I mean, yeah,
you would think.
They got to do something. I saw one of the sites, I think it was On3, put out, the so-called way too early preseason top 25 for basketball. And they had Clemson ranked in the preseason like 16. And I'm thinking to myself, do you know who they've lost off of this past year's team? P.J. Hall is gone. Jack Clark is gone. Joe Girard is gone. Alex Hemingway, who would have played had he been healthy, he's gone. Chase Hunter may be gone.
R.J. Godfrey.
R.J. Godfrey is gone. Josh Beadle is gone. I mean, they've got Asa Thomas back. They got Chauncey Wiggins back. Now, of course, they've added some people through the transfer portal and all that. But, I mean, they're going to be there's no way you can peg this Clemson team as a top 25 team at this stage with the players they lost and the players that they're bringing in, until we see what these guys can do. I mean, they're bringing in Dallas Thomas, a freshman, Ace Buckner, a freshman, Dell Jones, a freshman, and then a 6'11 transfer, Victor Lock-in from Cincinnati, and a 6'2 transfer from Boston College, Jaden Zachary. I mean, player for player, that doesn't look like an even swap to me. Now, I know Wiggins has a chance to be good.
I would agree.
And if Hunter comes back, that'll be a bonus. And Shefflin is back.
Yeah.
And Shefflin is back. They get Heidbreder is able to play this year after sitting out this past. Dylan Hunter will be able to play this coming season. But still, I don't know how you look at that roster and say that's a top 25 team or a top 20 team at that.
I'm curious as to how Ian Shefflin will handle the transition from being a sort of role player, secondary option, certainly a tremendous rebounder, go get your own stuff, to being one of the guys that's counted on up front. I mean, I thought he played extremely well in a complimentary role off of P.J. Hall. Everybody had to send, especially along the front line, you had to send most of your bigs to worry about what Hall was going to do, and that allowed Ian to sort of roam around and get in position to get offensive rebounds, stick backs, and he could score, and I just thought he had a fabulous season. But I wonder how much of that was, and this is not a knock on him because I think he's a really good player, but I just wonder how much of that is him being a complementary piece to the puzzle alongside P.J. Hall, and now with P.J. going to the NBA, where does that leave Ian Shefflin?
Yeah, excellent point. I'm with you on that. I don't know that he can be a featured guy. He was a huge surprise, and his outside shooting, I think, was a surprise. But, his work ethic was second to none now. He did a lot of his damage just on effort. He outworked you inside. He got that offensive rebound, and he just outworked people inside. But he also had help with P.J. Hall. Now he's not going to have that help. He's not going to have R.J. Godfrey. So now this Lacken kid, the transfer from Cincinnati, looks pretty good. 6'11", works inside, but can also stand outside and shoot. So maybe he's going to help offset that. Time will tell. But I couldn't look at that roster right now and project it as a top 25 thing based on what we're seeing right now. Of course, over the weekend, good recruiting weekend for South Carolina, as basketball-wise, Lamont Paris takes a transfer from Norfolk State, Jamari Thomas, the MEAC Player of the Year point guard, and that fills out their roster. So they hit the portal, John, really hard, and they feel like they got guys who can come in and help them immediately, and Jordan Butler and Nick Pringle, now Jamari Thomas, and then they had 3 high schoolers, Oku Federico, Trent Noah, and Cam Scott. So 6 newcomers joining the Gamecock roster. And by all accounts in the MEAC, Thomas was a really good player, and obviously Player of the Year. He had committed to Virginia Commonwealth just a week before. So this is a transfer, decommitment, recommitment. He actually began his career at UNC Wilmington. I'm telling you, for some of these kids, by the end of their careers, their puzzle to their locations is, it's just going to be, trying to piece it all together is going to be crazy because you start here, you go here, you transfer there, you commit there, you uncommit, you decommit, transfer here. So, but apparently he kind of fits the model for what Lamont Paris was looking for in a true point guard.
I'll tell you why. Yeah, and I think that's part of it, but I think the other aspect was he was also MEAC, I think it was first team all defense. And Lamont Paris and his teams, they are going to get after you on that end of the floor. And if you have no interest in playing defense, you're not going to play for him. So I think that was a major attractive aspect of bringing Thomas in. But yeah, like you just committed to VCU, which is a very solid program in its own right. And then to transfer into South Carolina, maybe all these guys, and I can't, I can't be upset with them for doing that. Maybe they're just chasing not the money, but the gear. Maybe they just want as much athletic gear as they possibly from different schools that they can grab.
I don't know. Nothing seems to make them happy, though. And then, of course, the Gamecocks got a 2026 football commitment from Anthony Baxter, an offensive lineman from South Point. Big guy, 6'3", 330. So the Gamecocks had a nice weekend there. And now to the baseball scene, Clemson took care of their business with Georgia Tech after just suffering a crushing loss in their second game on Friday, a crushing loss to Georgia Tech after winning the opener of the doubleheader. They blow a big lead, didn't blow it on Sunday. Had a great outing from Aiden Kanak. He was very, very good. Their pitching overall was very, very good, and they continue to hit the stitches off the baseball. The Tigers can score with anybody, and they can hit the long ball with anybody, and Wright was unbelievable. So a series win for them. And then South Carolina probably scored their biggest win of the year last night or yesterday afternoon because seventh inning, they're left for dead. They're down 4-1. Mm-hmm. They're left for dead. Going to lose a series to Missouri, which is a complete and total no-no when you're trying to gain position for both the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament. You can't lose a series to Missouri. I don't care how crappy their field is, completely carpeted, ugly, and everything else. And they're a pretty poor team, but you can't lose that game. You can't lose that series. But they managed to put it together with an incredible comeback in the seventh inning and kept it going and pulled away to a win. Chris, I thought that was like probably their most important, their biggest win of the season at this time in this place because if you lose that series, you got Georgia coming in after you play Winthrop tomorrow night. People are going to be kind of down in the dumps about you for losing a series to Missouri. So in a lot of ways, that was maybe their biggest win of the year.
It truly was. And you can thank Austin Brindling for that. And I saw somebody who didn't like my headline that the Gamecocks stole one. Well, if you watched that ball game yesterday, that's exactly what they did, because if Brindling does not pull back that potential grand slam in the second inning, I mean, he's halfway over the wall in center field to pull that away. Turns into a sac fly, and they get out of it after that. Instead of them being down 4-1 going to the seventh, they potentially could have been down 7-1 going to the seventh, and obviously if it played out the same way it did, they still win 9-7, but you don't know that that's the case. And I thought Brindling's play, tremendous catch, and may have been the spark plug they needed to ultimately get them going, because their relief pitching over the weekend, Phil, was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And where the Gamecocks have an issue, first off, I'd like to ask Mark Kingston why he shifted up the lineup on Saturday, going away from the same lineup he had on Friday night with Casas batting in the 9-hole and Cole Messina and the guys in, Messina and Jackson and Jones in the middle of that order, and Petrie and Brindling up top. He changed it, moved Casas up a little bit, and they struggled to score. And that was a lineup that in 4 ball games, they've scored 44 runs with those guys in that order and have gone 4-0. And I just didn't quite understand. Maybe it was the pitcher that Missouri ran out that ironically got, and unfortunately for him, got hurt early in the game, and they had to replace him, and their reliever was outstanding. But I just didn't quite understand his thinking on shifting a lineup that had worked so well, and then him going back to it yesterday proved to be big. But I think he needs to stick with the lineup he had yesterday and not touch it again, because I think that's their best offensive lineup. And the worrisome part for Gamecock fans has to be, where's our starting pitching? Because you look at Friday nights, Saturday night, and yesterday, they didn't get hardly anything from their starters. Jones wasn't very good. SQ wasn't very good. They've got to find somebody who can step in and start for them and get them 5 or 6 quality innings. And I'm almost to the point, if I'm Mark Kingston, I look at running out Ty Good on Thursday nights as my starter against Georgia and see what he can do.
Yeah, again, Eli Jones had a rough outing. 2 and 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, and then Becker followed him in and allowed 3 hits, 2 runs, both earned in 1 and a third inning. So, yeah, and I will
Kimball
say
wasn't very good on Friday. He got the early hook.
I will say, too, that in their Saturday loss, the defense let Eli Jones down in that first inning.
Sure.
So, some of that blame has to go to defense. Even though they weren't there was an error on a throw, I believe, that eventually led to a run. But then it should have been a 2-run inning, but there was a ground ball hit towards second that Ethan Petrie came over and cut off and then had no play at first. And 2 runners scored. And so it should have been a 2-run inning. Instead, it became a 4-run inning. But then, again, you look at Jones, he walked 3, gave up 7 hits. That's not what you want out of your ace. I mean, he's supposed to be your shutdown guy and hasn't been that the last couple of times out. Okay, and
speaking of starting pitching, and Eric Backage, to Clemson for a moment, Eric Backage doesn't need any help from me, but I'm thinking as we get closer to the postseason, I find a way to rotate Aiden Kanak to my Friday night guy. He is by far their best pitcher, starting pitcher, and I'm not even sure it's close. Tristan Smith has been okay, and Darden's been pretty good, but nobody has been lights out the way Kanak is, and freshmen are not. I think I figure out a way that I can rotate him in, maybe through the ACC tournament. I shift up his pitching week so that he's ready to go on Thursday or Friday in the opening round of the regionals, and certainly looking ahead to a potential super regional. He's the guy I think I would want starting game 1 of a super for them.
I would totally agree. And he'll probably do something like that when they get down to postseason. Yeah, you don't want to. You're not going to save him for your third start by any means.
You may never get to him.
Yeah. All right, NCAA women's golf tournament began today at regions around the country. South Carolina, good start for the Gamecocks at the Auburn Regional. They came in at +5, which is good for second place behind Auburn, which is at +2. Oregon and Tulsa tied for third at +10. And the Gamecocks' Louise Ridquist, she is tied for first individually at 3 under par, so she had a good day. She was the only Gamecock under par. Hannah Darling, 2 over, so you'll get more from her. And Verena Heck was also at 2 over for the Gamecocks, so that's their top scoring. Clemson playing in the Texas A&M Regional, Bryan, Texas, and the Tigers shoot a +3 today, so they're in 4th place. That's a good start for them. SMU and LSU are tied for the lead at 2 under, and A&M is next at 1 under. And Annabelle Pancake, she fires a 1 under 71, best score for the Tigers. That's 6th best overall, so that's their best score. Isabella Rawl came in at even par, so she had a 72. Those are the top scores for the Tigers. And then Charleston Southern playing in the Bermuda Run Regional in North Carolina, and they are +20, which is 12th out of 12 teams. So they are well back. Wake Forest is your leader at -11, Tennessee -10, and Ole Miss -5, along with Mississippi State. And I believe it is the top 6 teams advance to the NCAA tournament in a couple of weeks. So South Carolina Clemson looking very good after the first round of the women's tournament. Their particular regionals, they're looking in very good shape to make it through to the national championship tournament. All right, we'll catch you up on some other things, baseball rankings and RPIs and things like that. Full recruiting report coming up. But we'll hit your phone calls after the break. And the phone number, 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number right here on Sports Talk. Quick reminder, hey, don't wait. Make sure you get your reservation for a great place at the beach with summertime right around the corner. Give Jimmy Smith a call at James Smith Real Estate. The phone number is 843-237-4225. 4246 online at Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. Pawleys Island, the place. Jimmy the Man, 843-237-4246. Of course, it's Darlington Week here in South Carolina. No longer the owner of the closest finish in NASCAR history.
What a race yesterday.
Wow.
And I'm just upset that it steals Darlington's thunder, especially the week prior. Come on, Kansas. Let us keep something nice here in Darlington.
Won that thing by the little piece underneath there, I guess, as an air dam
Yeah,
or something.
exactly.
Just got the air dam out in front. Incredible finish. Be right back.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107.
Here's tonight's forecast. We're dry this evening, but overcast with a low of 65. Tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, a 20% chance of an afternoon burst. Hotter with a high reaching 89, and we'll make it all the way to 90 on Wednesday with a mix of sun and clouds. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
At Palmetto State Armory, we can't catch the fish for you, but we can make sure you have everything you need to have a great day on the water. Whether you're targeting bass or bluegill, stop by and shop lures from brands like Zoom, Rapala, and our exclusive hardbait line from Strike King. Looking for a new rod or reel? We've got options from great companies like Luz, Abu Garcia, and Shimano. Worried about the weather? We've got rain gear and apparel from Hook, AFTCO, Columbia, and more. Be sure to stop by Palmetto State Armory before your next fishing trip and make it the best one yet.
With us on the news, I'm Keith Peters reporting forecasters say millions of people in the central United States could see powerful storms Monday, including long-track tornadoes, hurricane-force winds, ball-sized hail. The National Weather Service forecasts that much of Oklahoma and parts of Kansas are at the greatest risk of severe weather. Some of those areas in Oklahoma are still recovering from tornadoes. The go-broke dates for benefit programs, Medicare, and Social Security have been pushed back as an improving economy has contributed to changed projected depletion dates, according to the annual Social Security and Medicare Trustees Report. Medicare's go-broke date for its hospital insurance trust fund was pushed back 5 years to 2036 in today's report. Social Security's trust funds will be able to pay full benefits beginning in 2035. This is SRN News.
Some people would tell you the world's on fire right now. Well, this isn't a political message. It's a message in support of Ken and his team at Broker Solar in downtown Columbia. I love what they're doing. This is meant to remind you about something. You can't pick your power company. It's not like swapping cell phone companies every time they ask for another rate increase. You know what, though? You can take control of your power bill. You can either pay the man or be the man. You can own your own energy. You need to reach out to Broker Solar. In famously hot Columbia, when it's 100 degrees in the shade, you won't lose power when the grid can't handle the heat. You'll have stored energy and a solar-powered battery. During peak hours, when the power company's cleaning up, you'll run off your solar panels and you'll get the last laugh. Hey, solar's not for everyone. It's a serious financial commitment with serious financial benefits. My suggestion is you reach out to Broker Solar and the guys and let them answer your questions. Online, it's brokersolar.com, or give Ken a call at 807-7417. That's 807-7417 for Broker Solar.
Families of all backgrounds want options when it comes to their children's education. Education scholarship accounts provide the flexibility and freedom necessary for parents to tailor their child's learning experience according to their unique needs. In fact, 75% of South Carolina voters believe education scholarship accounts should be made available to all families, regardless of income level. And there's a bill sitting before the South Carolina State Senate that would do just that. And you can make the difference. Call your state senator today and urge that senator to put students first in South Carolina by expanding access to educational scholarship accounts. The time is now to support South Carolina students. For more information, visit southcarolinaschoolchoice.com. Again, that's southcarolinaschoolchoice.com. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity, South Carolina.
Hey, pool owners. Now is the time to get your pool ready for summer fun, and at Jack Oliver's Pool, Spa, and Patio, we make it easy. We have everything for salt and chlorine pools, including chemicals, equipment, and accessories. But our best item is knowledgeable staff. They're trained and ready to answer your questions so you can do it right. Shop online at jackoliverpools.com and have everything delivered to your door. Get your pool ready with Jack Oliver's Pool Spa and Patio, 3303 Forest Drive and jackoliverpools.com.
Great things don't happen all at once. Big dreams take time. And when it comes to saving for college, it's those small steps that make a difference. I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 5-9 college savings plan, is designed to be taken step by step. You can start with any amount, contributions are tax deductible, and earnings grow tax-free. So why wait? Discover the smart, easy way to save for college at futurescholar.com.
The Point.
She is the track too tough to take.
The lady in black. She's got a thing for tradition, a hankering for history, and she sure likes a good challenge. Well, when Throwback Weekend comes to town, she'll get exactly what she wants and play extra hard to get.
These guys are going to have their hands full.
The official Throwback Weekend of NASCAR, May 10th through the 12th. Get your tickets now at darlingtonraceway.com.
All right, we're back at Sports Talk Media Network. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and the one and only Joshua Cohen. Back from his big weekend in Jacksonville with Luke Combs. You got a favorite song? You got a favorite Luke Combs song?
Not really.
Just like them all?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. You go down with your girlfriend?
No, I had some crazy experiences down there, though.
Who'd you go with?
My mom and my sister. It's pretty lame. Pretty lame.
You got really wild, the little mom and sis, huh?
Oh, yeah, but it was...
Turned it loose.
We had some weird neighbors that sat next to us, and...
Sure you did.
Oh, yeah.
Chris, what's the best concert I've ever been to? I'm not a big concert goer, you know.
No, me either.
I went to George Strait and Reba when they were in Columbia. Paul McCartney when he was in Columbia. That was good, Paul McCartney. But a long time ago, Whitney Houston performed in Columbia. This would have been back in the 80s. And she got attacked on stage. Yeah. Some nut attacked her on the stage while she was singing. Oh, yeah. Because, you know, Whitney Houston brought out that passion in everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And
outstanding talent.
And they jumped on him, boy, by the time.
Good, I hope so.
I don't know if he got a hand on her, but he got up on the stage and, like, I'm telling you, 3, 4, 5 security guys pounced on this guy. I don't know what he looked like after they finished up with him, but went to a Ray Charles concert one time at the old Capital City Stadium. Ray Charles and the Rayettes. That was pretty cool. Brought to you by Pepsi. I remember that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably my best concert was I saw U2, the rock band out of Northern Ireland. They played at Williams-Brice Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
Saw them live there. And I actually went to a Luther Vandross concert at Ovens Auditorium. I'm not even sure if that's still around in Charlotte.
Oh, yeah. Love Luther
Luther
Vandross.
was outstanding.
Didn't the Rolling Stones play at Death Valley and maybe Williams-Brice too?
Now, I don't remember either one of those, but it wouldn't surprise me on their tours.
I think they did. So Paul McCartney was really good. I'd go see him.
Now, there have been
again.
1,000 I would have liked to have gone to see,
Mm-hmm.
but I never have. I'm like you. I'm not a big concert goer. I wish I were.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, couple of quick notes. Baseball rankings this week. D1 baseball, Clemson 2, South Carolina 13. Of course, Coastal on an 8-game losing streak. Yeah, they have fallen off the wagon.
And now you worry about them making the tournament. I know their RPI is in really, really good shape, but they're getting to a point. I think they probably played their way out of hosting.
Oh, no doubt.
Another question, they've got to make sure they can play their way into being in the tournament because Coach Gilmore should not go out that way. He's got to make the NCAA tournament this year.
Baseball America 4 for Clemson. South Carolina 16, perfect game. Clemson 3, Gamecocks 16, and the coaches, Clemson 4 and the Gamecocks 14. And your RPIs as of this morning after the weekend. You got Clemson 4, USC 13, Coastal 32. How about the College of Charleston? They are red hot. 54 in the RPI and on the way up. Wofford 79, Upstate 92, Presbyterian 179, Charleston Southern 180, Winthrop 232, and the Citadel 249. Okay, Drop in some more notes as we move along. But right now, to your phone calls, Tiger Bryan is up first tonight right here on Sports Talk. Welcome in, Tiger Bryan. How are you?
Man, I'm honored. I'm honored to be first tonight.
You are number one, numero uno.
I know. Y'all just feel sorry for me, I reckon. Hey, but you know what? You talk about concerts. You remember Rosin Collins band?
Who?
Carowinds used to have a little palladium. I seen Ray Slick, 38 Special. Yeah, but you know.
Tiger Bryan, you got a bad. I hate to do this to you. You got a bad sell. Where are you?
And damn it,
You're
on Facebook.
You're in a bad spot. You're in a bad spot. We can't hear you.
The horse race, Kentucky Derby.
He's still talking. You didn't hear me. Can you hear? All right, we're gonna put you on hold, Tiger Bryan, and
it's funny.
And reload.
It's funny you mentioned Carowinds. Speaking of concerts, I saw the Village People at Carowinds when I was like 6 years old.
That's nice.
I'm not sure it was.
Tiger Bryan called back with a better sell because we could not make out a word. He did mention the Kentucky Derby. How about
Great
that finish
to that?
How about that finish and the finish at Kansas, huh?
Amazing race weekend, whether it be literal horsepower or horsepower inside the engines. I mean, just phenomenal finishes there. And as I mentioned, going to break, the only thing I'm disappointed about is Kansas steals Darlington's thunder as having the closest race in NASCAR Cup Series history between Craven and Kurt Busch many, many moons ago. Now to be the finish from Kansas yesterday, 1/1000th of a second. You can't even blink that fast. That's how close those two cars were.
A splitter or an air dam or something that was sticking out. The two cars, they had the same thing. The one thing I was wondering was that white line drawn evenly across the track. Was it wider? And I know I'm kidding here, but I mean, could it have been a little bit wider from where Larson crossed compared to where Buscher crossed? I'm kidding. I'm sure that thing is measured properly. But looking at the television angle, it looked a little wide. It looked wider where Larson crossed, thus giving him a little bit of an edge there. I know that's not the case.
Well, and let's stop with and I've heard this numerous times, it wasn't painted straight. Well, the one difference you have between a horse track and a NASCAR track is the banking is going to make it look. It's an optical illusion that it's not painted straight because it's coming from up to down towards the banking. You don't have it at a horse track. But the other thing is where the cameras are set up right at the finish line. That's that finish line was not the white line. I think it's evidently right before that, is from what I've gathered at least at Kansas. It may be different at Darlington. It may be different at Talladega.
Yeah.
But NASCAR's got to be thrilled. What this is twice this season we have had a photo finish in NASCAR.
Yeah.
You may get two of them in a lifetime. They've had two in the same year.
Now, here's my question. I don't know if you can answer this. Maybe you can from a strategy standpoint. We'll ask Josh Harris tomorrow night. But if you're so look, Martin Truex was coming, and he had plenty of gas. He didn't have to save gas. The others, Hamlin and Larson, they were feathering the throttle because they were trying to save on their gas before the wreck. So when the wreck happens and the caution comes out, if you're Truex, knowing it's going to be a green-white checker finish, why not stay out for track position and take the lead? You'd be the leader because everybody else was. I mean, my question is, he had enough fuel. Was the concern that his tires, the others on fresh tires, would have enough?
Yep.
They'd have enough time in 2 laps because they would be starting. They would be starting towards the. It depends on how many came in, of course, to pit. But if enough of them stayed out and he stayed out to be the leader, they'd have to come from the back of the pack to some degree. But I guess the thinking is the fresh tires, they would have made up enough. They would have had enough time in 2 laps to make up enough ground to catch him, even though
he evidently said after the race, restarting from 10th with 4 tires is tough to do in 2 laps. I just needed to clear the number 9, Chase Elliott, a little quicker and needed to get into turn 3 single file, and then I probably had a chance. I think he took 4, and everybody else, when they came into pit, took 2. So, yeah, he had the fresher tires, and had he had 2 more laps of overtime, if overtime had been 4 laps as opposed to 2, at least in his mind, he probably wins the race.
But you're missing my question is, why didn't he stay out? He had enough, because the concern was fuel, I thought. They were talking about, guys having to stay off the throttle, and they were talking about the technique of getting through the corners and rolling through the corners to save fuel. He had fuel. He was the one they said had fuel. So I'm wondering why he pitted. He could have been out front, not on worn tires, and the others would have had had to call him on 2 tires, 2 fresh tires. You see what I'm saying? Why wouldn't you stay out if you're Truex?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. Yeah, you'd have to ask somebody a whole lot smarter with NASCAR than I am. Unfortunately, we have 2 of those guys who come on the show every week.
Yeah. Is Tiger Bryan back with us? All right, let's try him again. Tiger Bryan, we're giving you a reprieve. Welcome back.
Well, thank you so much. You hear me now?
Oh, loud and clear.
Okay. Hey, I'll tell you what. The horse race at Kentucky was great. And I went to bed at the race last night. I had Carl Lawson on the race pools. I won on those. I didn't know until this morning. I said, well, I need to give that to charity or something.
How much did you win? How much did you win?
Well, I had $10 in it. I won $90. I'm gonna give it to somebody that needs it more than me. You know what I mean?
You can give it to the Sports Talk charity funds.
Well, y'all supposed to be getting me on that NIL page. Sports Talk NIL. Hey, Tiger Brown can't go nowhere. They hear my voice. They say, you Tiger Brown on Sports Talk. My wife says, yeah. Miss Tiger Brown said, yeah.
We're going to have to put you and Larry, y'all's names on the opening of the show with Phil Kornblue, Chris Bergen, Josh Cole, and Tiger Bryan, and Gamecock Larry.
Hey, I get enough people not aggravating me, but.
Well, listen, it's tough being a celebrity, Tiger Bryan. I get that.
Y'all the celebrities.
Well, no, I mean, you're the one. Nobody knows who I am. I can walk anywhere. Nobody recognizes me because I'm behind. I'm not on television or anything, and I keep my mouth shut. That's the difference. So you talk, I keep my mouth shut. So they hear you and they know who that is.
Yep. I got that gift of gab, I reckon you call it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
you know what? Hey, Miss Abba, my round girl, Clemson, she's going to break off in this here tournament. You know what I mean? She by the par today, this the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
Her nickname's Zizzy. Zizzy's going to make them dizzy.
She's good. She's good. Yeah. Isabel, you talking about Isabel Roll?
Oh, yeah. That's one of my best friends' sister's granddaughter. Yep. She lives in Lexington.
You're connected to everybody. Sisters, granddaughters, best friend. I mean, you just you got people. You got people everywhere.
I do. I'm gonna give a shout out by Monsoon up here in Lancaster. They was doing that Mexican thing band. My buddy's band, Raw Deal. They played in the Saturday evening. Played in the rain. Raw Deal. If you ever get to hear them, you want to play them.
Raw Deal.
Raw Deal. Yep, from Lancaster.
Okay. All right. Who's the lead? Who's the lead singer? Who's the lead singer?
Huh?
Who's the lead singer?
Toby Taylor.
Toby Taylor.
Taylor's lead singer.
Okay.
Yep. I'm a backup, so I'm way back. Won't take him, best friend. He's the drummer. You know.
You sing harmony or you sing bass? What do you sing?
I'm way back.
You're out of sight and you're out of hearing range.
I think we lost him again.
I think it dropped. Okay, Tiger Bryan, thank you. Oh, we got to go. Okay.
Come through here though.
All right, we're going to run, Tiger Bryan. Thank you very much. Glad to hear about your band there. That's another concert you can go to there, Chris, if you want to. Check out Tiger Bryan's band.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're performing at a lounge near you somewhere.
They probably, if they are smart and if they're able to do so, I'm sure they're smart. If they're able to do so, perform somewhere around here in the PD the next couple of days leading up to the race. We get all sorts of concert announcements here in town locally leading into either this weekend's race or the Southern 500 because obviously there are a lot more people venturing into the PD here this weekend and in September than we have normally.
Let's go to Ron in Greenville. Next phone call here on Sports Talk. Appreciate the patience. Ron, welcome in. How are you?
Phil, I'm doing good. Hope you are.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We didn't mention the fact that Coach Hootie Ingram died today.
Well, that's first I've heard of that. I was not aware.
Oh, is it?
Yes, sir. You're breaking the news.
Well, I heard it on the on the 6 o'clock news today.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought I'd call and just tell you that.
Wow, I'm sorry to hear that. What he had to be in his 80s?
I think he was 90.
90?
Yeah.
Well, okay. I'm glad
So he
you
lived
passed that on
lived a
to
good
us.
Lived a good, clean life.
Hootie Ingram, yep, former Clemson. I see it here. Clemson put out a Clemson Athletics put out a release. Former Clemson head coach Hootie Ingram. He was the head coach from 1970 to 72. He was 90.
Yeah.
This came out of Tuscaloosa. Reports out of Tuscaloosa. Officially hired in December 1969 after 3 seasons as defensive backs coach at Arkansas. And he was 12-21 at Clemson before he transitioned into various administrative roles. That's a nice way of saying they fired him.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it didn't go well. It didn't go well for Hootie during his time at Clemson.
I think he might have been coach when they started running down the hill and everything. I'm not sure.
I'd have to go back and check some of the history books on that.
Yeah. Okay. I got some bad news for James Larry.
Oh, wait, you know what? You're right. Here it is right here. For the final game of his tenure, how about this? Ingram also reinstated Clemson's running down the hill tradition that had stood dormant for several years following the construction of locker rooms in the Clemson West end zone. Clemson won that game 7-6. I remember that. I remember it was a steady, cold rain at Clemson. Jimmy Williamson knocked down a 2-point conversion attempt in the fourth quarter to save the win for Clemson. So, yeah, he brought it back.
Yeah, that must have been a good game for him. I'm glad that happened. Okay, and James Larry, I got some bad news. I told you I was coming down and bringing the cheerleader to your birthday party. Well, they backed out on me today, so they won't be coming.
Oh. All right, we'll pass that on. Thank you, Ron. We appreciate it.
Yep.
And appreciate the heads up on that news about Hootie Ingram, because I was not aware that had taken place. So, all right, let's go to our break, and we'll come back with more. And our phone number, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, right here on Sports Talk. By the way, we're getting ready for the Myrtle Beach Classic, right? The Myrtle Beach Classic. Bryan brothers are going to play. Wesley Bryan and GB4 are going to tee it up. That means GB3 will be there with you guys as well, Chris. Looking forward to that later on this week in Myrtle Beach. Be back in a moment.
We're with Major Billy Downer of the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer, let's say I'm out in the woods or I'm on the water and I need to reach a DNR agent. How do I do that?
Operation Game Thief, Phil. It's been around 30-plus years. You can call us at our 24-hour hotline any time of day, 1-800-922-5431. To report wildlife violations or to get help if you're in trouble in the woods or on the water, call us at Operation Game Thief, 1-800-922-5431.
Relax. Winter is finally over. It's time to get ready for a season of adventure. Escape the ordinary and get out on the road with an auto loan from Founders Federal Credit Union. From city streets to off-road trails, your journey begins here. Our low fixed rates can get you on the road in a ride that fits your lifestyle and budget, featuring no payments for up to 90 days. You can apply early for a pre-approved spending limit before you even start shopping. Let a Founders representative be your trusted advisor to make sure your purchase makes sense for you and your finances. Ask for a free auto insurance quote for a personalized plan to protect your purchase. Founders also offers mechanical breakdown protection that is competitive with most warranty plans available at dealerships. Head over to one of our 40 convenient office locations or visit foundersfcu.com to apply for an auto loan today or to see if you qualify for membership with Founders. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
Stay tuned. More Sports Talk is coming up on the Sports Talk Media Network.
She is the track too tough to take.
The lady in black. She's got a thing for tradition, a hankering for history, and she sure likes a good challenge. Well, when throwback weekend comes to town, she'll get exactly what she wants and play extra hard to get.
These guys are going to have their hands full.
Shall we dance? The official throwback weekend of NASCAR, May 10th through the 12th. Tickets now at ArlingtonRaceway.com.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
And speaking of that Myrtle Beach Classic, the bad boy, Alan Smothers, is he playing? Did he get in? I don't think he got in,
I don't
Chris.
think so.
No.
Yeah, I think he narrowly missed out on qualifying.
Yeah. They
had some sort of qualifying event, I think, today for that tournament.
He's letting me know that Tommy Two Gloves got in.
Oh, excellent.
As an alternate. Got in, let's see, today as an alternate. So I don't know if it means he's in or he's in the alternate position. William McGirt had a 5-under, shot 5 under with an eagle in 18 to force a one-hole playoff. He won, and he got one of the 4 Monday qualifiers. All right, so I guess
very good.
I guess Tommy Gainey is in the alternate position, and William McGirt won his way in. And you're going to be there. You and Smitty both going to be down there, huh?
Yeah, be broadcasting live the show on Friday night over at the Dunes. So looking forward to being over there. Head over Friday afternoon, watch some of the golf, and then get set up for the show. So that should be fun. Part of what will be a busy weekend for us with the Goodyear 400 in town on Sunday over at Darlington.
Mm-hmm. We go to Rocky up in Greenville. Next phone call from the upstate. Rocky, welcome into Sports Talk. How are you?
Hey, Phil, I'm doing well. You got me up against the bottom of the hour. I'll be kind of quick. First of all, Tiger Bryan, I like him from Lancaster, and I would just say to him, if he moses his way across the Catawba River to Great Falls, South Carolina, because that's where all my kin's from. So,
home of John Smith.
Chester County.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did
John
you know?
Smith,
Did
yes,
you know Coach Smith?
Coach of Great Falls. No, I met him once. Phil, I mean, I'm not from Great Falls. I'm from Columbia, but like I say, my family was in Great Falls. Very familiar with Coach Smith, and one of my loyal and rest in peace, Charlie Brunson, my teammate, was from Great Falls, who played at Winthrop. Nonetheless, I was just going to say on the baseball front, South Carolina, who'd have thought that, you think South Carolina playing Georgia is going to be in a football game, if it's going to mean something or like that. But this is a huge series for both these teams. Georgia sweeps Vanderbilt, and now they're all of a sudden, oh, hello, we're here too, and Carolina's got them. It's a huge series for South Carolina at home to win this, and I mean, I think they're okay on the host. And then you go to, Tennessee's number one, and he won baseball, and you got to finish. There's nothing like having your own destiny in your hands. You know what I'm saying, Phil?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about anybody else. Just let's take care of ourselves, and that's what the point. What do you think?
Yeah, it is a huge series in that positioning is very important. Those two teams are tied for the 6th best SEC record right now, so they're playing for positioning. Obviously, the winner could end up as high as number 5 in the standings. Probably not going to catch the top 4. I think they've kind of separated themselves from everybody at this particular time. But, you're at home. If you're South Carolina, you got to be thinking about taking 2 out of 3, which would make you 15-12 going into your last league series at Tennessee, which is going to be doggone hard. Tennessee's moved up to number 1 in the polls this week at 39-9 and 17-7. in league play. So it is, we talked about sweeping Missouri. That's why that Saturday loss was a bad one for them.
Yeah, agreed.
They needed to sweep Missouri.
But don't pitch to Charlie Condon. I don't care if he comes up with the bases loaded. Walk
Amazing.
him. I think I saw a stat over the weekend. He actually has more home runs than strikeouts this season. Walk the guy.
It's amazing.
Don't let him beat you.
He's going to hit 40 home runs this year.
Could
you imagine that in a college season? Somebody hitting 40 home runs? It's incredible. But thank you for the phone call. You're right on with what you're saying, and we'll be back in a moment.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. Severe weather threatens Oklahoma and southern Kansas.
In an AP interview, National Weather Service meteorologist in Norman, Oklahoma, Rick Smith says the weather is being caused by a combination of weather ingredients, including a storm system, a combination of humid and dry air, moisture, and wind shear.
It's pretty much every ingredient we look for tornadoes and severe thunderstorms in this area.
He also says the severe weather could bring an array of weather conditions.
Definitely the potential is there for a major severe weather outbreak with damaging tornadoes, large hail, damaging winds over a fairly large area. Again, a serious situation.
The entire week is looking stormy across the U.S. I'm Haya Panjwal.
Israel began striking targets in the southern Gaza town of Rafah, even as the Hamas terrorist group announced its acceptance of a ceasefire proposal from Egyptian Qatari officials. White House National Security spokesman John Kirby says CIA Director Bill Burns is in the Middle East reviewing Hamas's ceasefire proposal response.
All I know is we've got a response. Bill Burns is looking at that response. He's talking to the Israelis about it, and we'll see where this goes. Hopefully, whatever's in this thing, hopefully it can lead to those hostages getting out real soon with their families.
It remained uncertain whether a deal could be sealed to bring a halt to the war and avert an all-out Israeli attack on Rafah, where Israel ordered some 100,000 Palestinians to begin evacuating. The go-broke dates for benefit programs, Medicare, and Social Security have been pushed back as an improving economy has contributed to changed projected depletion dates, that according to the annual Social Security and Medicare trustees report. More on these stories at townhall.com.
See, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. And maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for health care can save many families up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true people are way more satisfied after making the switch too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. See what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE, 844-41-BIBLE. E5.
The European Commission says it intends to abandon infringement proceedings taken against Poland for alleged breaches against the rule of law.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said the decision marked a new chapter for Poland. She congratulated Prime Minister Donald Tusk's government for its efforts to restore the rule of law in the country. Mr. Tusk, a former president of the European Council, took office in December, pledging to restore Poland's place at the heart of Europe. He started efforts to undo the previous Eurosceptic government's reform that increased political control over the judiciary. But he faces a significant obstacle in President Andrzej Duda, a political ally of the former Law and Justice, who has the power to veto legislation.
That's BBC correspondent Adam Easton reporting. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. We're dry this evening, but overcast with a low of 65. Tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, a 20% chance of an afternoon burst. Hotter with a high reaching 89. Make it all the way to 90 on Wednesday with a mix of sun and clouds. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Ooh, I like when you press that one.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach us with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
We're back. Sports Talk Media Network. Phil Kornbluth, Chris Bergen, Josh Cohen. On a Monday night, it's great to have you with us. Phone number 888-898-2525. Deion Bethea was scheduled to be with us here at 7:05, but we've not been able to connect with him. So we will continue to try to connect. Jim Toman at the bottom of the hour, he will join us, talk baseball from over the weekend. I'm sure he'll have a lot of interesting things to share with us. A couple of other notes. How about this coaching era coming to an end at Francis Marion University? Of course, I knew it as Francis Marion College back in the day. Art Inhabitant.
USC Florence, really back in the day.
Well, that's really going back in the day when it was a two-year school, I believe. Art Inhabitant announced today that he is retiring after 24 seasons at FMU and 26 overall at the school. And they will conduct a national search. He was the winningest all-time coach at FMU, 704, 478, and 2. And overall on the collegiate level, 788, 532, and 2. So congratulations to him on a well-done career at Francis Marion. Of course, a few years ago, they built a beautiful little ballpark. I mean, a beautiful little ballpark over there at Francis Marion, and they christened it by beating South Carolina, as I recall.
Yeah, in 2012, Gamecocks coming off back-to-back World Series titles, and they roll in here to Florence in front of a packed house and lose 5-4. And it's funny, you go back, Phil, just to give you an idea how things sort of come full circle. That was almost a payback. The Gamecocks actually helped them dedicate their old facility, Cornell Field, which was actually in the middle of campus. And then FMU moved out to Sparrow Stadium, which is just adjacent to their campus. It is as nice a Division II baseball facility as you could possibly ask for. Matter of fact, for many, many years, the local summer league, collegiate summer league wooden bat team, the Florence, now Flamingos, but at the time they were the Florence Red Wolves, they played out there as well. And so they are getting, whenever they decide to, whomever they decide to hire as a new head coach is getting a great facility and probably a little bit easier road as soon as Landon Powell gets done taking North Greenville to new heights in Conference Carolinas than they used to have to deal with in the Peach Belt.
Tell you what, they got good baseball over there because Flodar's got a really good baseball team, as we know. Florence, Darlington Tech, they've been out to the National Junior College Tournament several times, so they got good baseball in that area. All right, we have now connected with Deion Bethea, who announced this morning, I think maybe to the surprise of the public, that he would be stepping down as the head coach at Gray Collegiate, and he's moving on to the college ranks to be an assistant coach at Georgia Southern. And Deion joins us now here on Sports Talk, and we'll welcome in, and congratulations on the move. Tell us how you feel about this big change in your coaching career.
Hey, what's up, Phil? How you doing, brother?
We're doing great, man.
Yeah, man. I feel good, man. I was so excited, man. I'm out here, getting my 4 miles in. But great opportunity, man. Gray has been nothing but amazing, since I've been there all 10 years, man. But, it was just time for me to take on another challenge.
How did this come to pass for you? I know, like, in the past, you've looked at some college opportunities, but you've stayed at Gray, and now this opportunity has come up at Georgia Southern. Give us the background on that.
Nah, I got two young girls, man, and now one of them in high school, a freshman, and then the other one, she'll be a sixth grader next year. So just wanted to make sure, like, they were older, of course, and it wasn't so much on my wife either. But, how it came about was, like, you always got people watching, man, and I never really got an opportunity. I always got the door in my face saying that I didn't have the experience. And the only way you can get experience is somebody sit there and give you the opportunity. So the opportunity presented itself, and, he liked everything that I brought to the table, and he saw I can really, really coach. So that's what, really pushed him over the hump. And then, of course, I got a real good eye for talent. So those were the key things that led the last year and a half to me making this decision.
Talking to Dion Buffet, who's leaving Gray Collegiate to go to Georgia Southern. The recruiting part of this should come as a natural to you. I'm not going to get into the the Gray Collegiate charter school and all that kind of stuff, but you were AAU heavy, very involved in AAU before you became head coach there at Gray Collegiate. The recruiting side of it, actually hitting the road and recruiting guys to come to Georgia Southern. How much are you looking forward to that aspect of the job?
I mean, I'm excited, to be able to learn from Coach Henry, who's been like, in the NBA and also on Nate Oates' staff in Alabama in the SEC. So me getting to learn the ins and outs and, just getting out and helping us get some talent and evaluate some talent, I'm excited about it.
How do you feel you have grown from your early days as a basketball coach, coming out of Richland Northeast High School and then, running AAU programs and then getting the chance at Gray? How have you changed over the years from a pure basketball coaching standpoint?
I was terrible at coaching AAU. I had an eye for talent and had great teams. And Merle Code, man, he really helped me, invited me to a lot of the Nike camps where I can sharpen my skills in that area. And over the years, man, going to those camps and being around NBA coaches and, college coaches, the relationships just grew. So I became a whole lot better of recognizing mismatches, recognizing defenses, just the game of basketball where, I can sit there and, put great things together and really put it into a high school program that I had a lot of success with. Like, people sit there and say, oh, well, it's easy to win when you got talent. Well, that's not true because we done seen plenty of teams with talent that can't win.
Mm-hmm.
The thing for me was just making sure I build the young men up and believing into what, the mission was. And it was everybody having an opportunity to play at the next level, but you got to give up something to get something. So, once they start buying in and, I put my coaching touch on it and my unbelievable staff that I had, we just had a lot of great success there.
Can you foresee yourself one day leading a college program as a head coach?
Oh, absolutely. And that's the goal. That's the goal. I told my assistant coaches, man, like, the story's not over. It's just going into another chapter. So, I will see them again. And, I believe in myself and I done betted on myself, since I've been in basketball and having a lot of success with it. So I do see myself being a head coach at a Division I level.
So on this staff at Georgia Southern, what will be your role as far as how, the positions they want you to coach, or exactly what it is that they want you to do from the bench? What have they told you about how you will be used from that standpoint?
So I'll be the third assistant. I'll be on the floor, of course. And I'll probably be working with the wings. And I'll be doing a lot of defensive stuff with Coach Henry as well. So, definitely excited about that. And, of course, the recruiting aspect of it. But he was like, he's bringing me there to coach. And that's what really flipped it for me, because I'm not just a guy who can get kids. I'm a guy that can actually coach, and I'm really good at it.
Well, you won over 270 games. You won 6 AA state championships, and you're leaving with 3 straight state championships. As you reflect on your time at Gray and all that success, what that time mean to you?
Man, it means a lot. A lot of history there, a lot of great kids, to come through that program, and, some unbelievable relationships, not to mention the leadership, that Dr. Newsom brought to the table, and my good friend Adam Holmes too, they really, really took care of me since I've been there. And as much as I hate to go, man, none of them, tried to stop me. They knew the opportunity presented itself, and they wanted me to have at it.
Mm-hmm.
So, definitely I can't wait.
And Adam is gone. He's moved on. You're moving on. So it's a big time of transition at Gray. Would you hope that they would promote somebody from your staff to be the head coach, or will they look nationwide for somebody?
I think he's going to open it up, but, a lot of times, man, you have a good coach right there, right in front of you. So the assistant coaches I had, Coach Laurie, he got the head coaching job over at Eau Claire High School. And then Brandon Wallace, he was on my staff, and everything was really set up for him to be the next head coach. But he went over to the girls' side and won a championship. So, I'm hoping that they keep it inside. So, the process is going to be fun for them.
Well, Dion, we thank you as always for being with us. You've been a regular visitor to Sports Talk over the years, whether it's talking about AAU or Gray Collegiate or something in basketball. And good luck at Georgia Southern. Let's keep in touch and look forward to some great things from you there in Statesboro, and moving on from there and see where this road leads you, man. But good luck, and we appreciate you as always.
Oh, no problem. Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, there you go. Dion Bethay heading out of Gray Collegiate. Big turnovers there at Gray Collegiate now, Chris. Coincidental that this is an opportunity for him. You see this happening when things have changed in terms of, they're going to have to play up because of the enrollment factor now. Not saying that's why these coaches are heading out or anything like that. I'm just saying there's a lot of change impacting that program over at Gray Collegiate.
And you see that opportunity happen a good bit around the high schools. And, you would have thought he would be satisfied and wanted to stay at Gray as long as he's as good as his program has been. But, every coach wants to be a head coach at the next level, normally. Maybe the NBA, college to NBA is a jump a lot don't want to make. But in terms of high school, getting an opportunity to go to Georgia Southern, he's walking in there at a great time. They're about to unveil and open up a $37 million brand new basketball facility, which they desperately need. Their current setup is probably the worst in the Sun Belt, and they may go to the top of the line, or at least inside the top 5 once they build this facility. So he's walking in there at a good time, and it looks like Georgia Southern ready to put some money into men's basketball.
All right, thanks to Dion for being with us, and good luck to him, and we'll keep a watch on that situation at Gray to see what they end up doing over there. Okay, phone number 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. If you missed the top of the program, Shane Beamer announced down in Florence tonight, indeed, Lenore Sellers will be the starting quarterback for the Gamecocks going into fall practice, though he did, leave that door cracked to say competition will continue, but it will be Lenore Sellers as the number 1 guy going into preseason camp coming up here in August. And also, our poll question of the week is a football poll question. And
you're fascinated by that line, aren't you?
Well, I am. Plus, it's football, and it gives us something to talk about. Odds makers have made Georgia 10.5-point favorite over Clemson for the season opener in Atlanta. As of today, what play would you make? Take Clemson in the points or take Georgia and lay the points? What are you doing?
Until I hear otherwise, I'm laying the points. Give me Georgia and 10.5.
Yeah, I might concur. 67.4% agree with that. 32.6% say take Clemson and the points. And I wanted to mention this, too, before we get back to phone calls. We can kick this around. So On3 Sports put out a list of their top 25 head coaches, college football, their ranking of the top 25. Of course, Kirby Smart now listed number 1. This isn't by income. This is by reputation as a coach. Brian Kelly, 2. Kalen DeBoer moves up to number 3 at Alabama. Ryan Day is 4. Steve Sarkisian is 5. Here's Dabo Swinney now at number 6, coming off his worst season in 13 years. They still call him the number 1 coach in the ACC, though Mike Norvell is listed right behind him. What really caught my attention on this is at number 15 was Jamie Chadwell at Liberty.
Wow.
And Shane Beamer was not listed among the top 25 coaches. Eli Drinkwitz was 25. Jeff Traylor of UTSA, 24. Dave Duran of NC State, 23, and so on and so forth. And I just found that fascinating that they had Jamie Chadwell after 1 year at Liberty at number 15 after his time at Coastal. And I just flashed back to when South Carolina was hiring a coach, and Jamie Chadwell interviewed for the job with Ray Tanner. But what I gleaned from that was his belief that Jamie Chadwell was too young and too inexperienced to come into the SEC and run a football program. The one thing about Jamie Chadwell that I would have had on his side was that he would have come to South Carolina, wherever he happened to go, which is Liberty this time, but he would have come to South Carolina with a proven offensive scheme.
Oh, yeah, no question.
And he would have installed his offense and his offensive scheme, and he would have run it as the head coach.
I want to see him get a chance at the Power 5 level or whatever we're ultimately going to call it, because I want to see if that, what do they call it? It's not the triple option. It's the spread option that he runs. I want to see if it works with those kind of athletes. I can't imagine it wouldn't. I mean, it's worked everywhere he has been against apples and apples. I mean, he obviously didn't have quite the talent at Liberty to go up against the big dogs when he got an opportunity here this past fall. But when you compare apples to apples, Jamie Chadwell may outcoach a lot of people. I'm just fascinated in the criteria behind this. Best coaches in college football, and you've got Eli Drinkwitz at number 25. I think he's a phenomenal coach, and I think he's done a tremendous job at Missouri, and I think he should be much higher on that list, especially ahead of Kirk Ferentz at Iowa.
Or Luke Fickell. Luke Fickell. I mean, seriously.
Steve Sarkisian ahead of Dabo Swinney. I mean, say what you will about Clemson this past year, but Dabo's got 2 national championships sitting in his back pocket. I mean, I'm fascinated about how they came up with this, and they got the right deal. It's to give people something to chat about and complain about.
Right.
But, yeah, I just don't understand the criteria. But, yeah, putting Eli Drinkwitz behind Dave Doran, Jonathan Smith at Michigan, Matt Rule. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, some of these guys they have inside the top 25 are just not good coaches, in my opinion.
I would have had Lance Leipold up a little bit more, too, because what he's done at Kansas to make Kansas a conversation piece in football now is pretty impressive. All right, we got to run to the break, and we'll come back and hit some more phone calls. Jim Toman coming up, recruiting coming up as well. Phone number 888-898-2525. The Panthers, according to Joe Person, plan to sign ex-Seahawk running back Rashad Penny, pending a physical next week. This according to a league source confirming what Jeremy Fowler of ESPN first reported. He has ties to Dave Canales, and he averaged 6.3 yards per carry back in 21. Be back in a moment.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. That's the sound of a big on you Or a truck. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years, helping people who get injured in car wrecks and truck wrecks. If you have serious injuries, call Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968, or email me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. That's CORBETT. I don't get paid unless I recover for you. Jim Corbett Attorney, for your best recovery from a big hit, 803-765-2968, or jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
Last throw, big guy.
Come on, baby. I need me a giant bear.
I got this. I'm the target. Ben, throw.
Woo! Yeah!
Oh, well. You want a giant bear. That's a grizzly.
Oh, Mama's baby bear.
When you join the South Carolina Education Lottery's Players Club, you get way more than you expect. More chances, more wins, and more surprises.
Yeah, he's had all his shots. Just don't look him in the eye.
Join the Players Club at seeducationlottery.com because more happens here.
You're listening to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. We're back in a moment.
George Bryant here for Tsunami Bar Sports, and some say the fun is in the winning. I say the fun is in the training. And Tsunami Robbie, what do you say?
George, we all know you get more done when you're having fun. This technology is different, it's engaging, but it's also a lot of fun to use.
Hi, this is Phil Kornblut. Be sure to click on the digital ad on SportsTalkSC.com and get 5% off any Tsunami Bar order using promo code BBB5. Don't wait, order today. All right, back to your phone calls here on Sports Talk. Jim Toman coming up shortly. 888-898-2525. Appreciate the patience. Those of you on the phone lines, we go to Jim in Greenville next here on Sports Talk. Jim, welcome in. How are you this evening, sir?
Doing fine. How about yourself?
We're doing great. Good to have you.
One other thing that we have to thank Hootie for is the Tiger Paw. He is the guy that instigated that.
Was he?
He was. He also instigated fans wearing orange and white. You've always had orange jerseys and white pants, but he kind of emphasized fans wearing orange and white, and it caught on.
Now, I remember the Tiger Paw was designed by a gentleman at Henderson Advertising in Greenville.
That's correct.
Was that done at the behest of Hootie Ingram? He was the one that pushed that forward?
He's the guy that pushed that forward.
What do you remember? I don't remember, I wasn't close at all back then. What do you remember about the reaction by Clemson fans when that was unveiled? That you took the C off the helmet, or the CU. I think you had a C on the helmet, and you go to this Tiger Paw thing that really didn't identify the school in any other way. I mean, if you were from Oklahoma and you turned on a Clemson game back then, if you could see a Clemson game and just saw a Tiger Paw, you might not know who you were looking at.
Well, that's true. It set Clemson aside, I think, as far as the Tiger Paw did, and it's the only one. They managed to pretty well keep it under a copyright, I think. So, and one other thing about that Tiger Paw is it's got a little nick in the one of the pads.
Yes.
That model for that Tiger Paw came from a lion in the Chicago Zoo, and he had a scar on his on the pad on his foot that they took that model from.
I never knew that.
Fascinating.
I never knew that. That is pretty amazing. And I read a story about the Tiger Paw one time, but I mean, the angle of the paw was a specific angle, right? Didn't they study some stuff or whatever and decide on the angle at which to I don't know, lay the paw out there?
I'm sure Henderson Advertising did a lot of studying with that, and as to what was the best thing to do.
Can you think of any other school? And thank you, Jim, for the phone call, man. Appreciate it. Chris, can you think of any other major program in the country that's identified like just strictly by its symbol, by its logo? Yeah.
There are only a couple. Obviously, the University of Miami still goes with the U.
Yeah, that's one. That's
Georgia
one.
with the G.
Yeah, but do you
Oregon
think?
with the big O?
Georgia. I mean, Georgia still calls itself Georgia. I mean, they got the G on their
Right,
helmet.
but-
I mean, I'm talking
but
about
everywhere-
when I say logo, I'm talking about with no lettering or anything to identify your school. There's no lettering, like on their helmet. It's just the tiger paw.
Mm-hmm. No, he was way ahead of his time. I mean, that was a brilliant marketing move that Clemson has adapted and run with. And you're right. All you need to see, you don't have to see the word Clemson. You see the tiger paw, whether it be in a academic setting or an athletic setting. You know exactly who that is.
And I mean, they use that tiger paw in everything.
As they should.
Spelling
I
the
think
word,
it's a brilliant piece of marketing.
Spelling the word Clemson, the O is a tiger paw. I mean, but it certainly helps to have been successful, starting with the Danny Ford era. Because remember, they weren't successful for a while there until Charlie Pell kind of got it going and he took off, and then Danny took it to a level. And now, of course, Sweeney took it an entire different level. All right, be back in a moment. Thanks for the call.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's forecast. We're dry this evening, but overcast with a low of 65. Tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, a 20% chance of an afternoon burst. Hotter with a high reaching 89, and we'll make it all the way to 90 on Wednesday with a mix of sun and clouds. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Hey all, this is Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We'd like to invite you and your family to dine with us. We have a great menu that's sure to please your whole family. We have fresh cooked burgers, big juicy wings, blue plate menu featuring country cooking, oven baked hoagies, fresh crisps, authentic Greek food like gyros, souvlaki, and baklava. We also carry 20 different premium cheesecakes and pies. Flight Deck Restaurant also has an arcade with 30 different games like Star Wars, Batman, Skee-Ball, Bass Wheel, Pac-Man, Galaga, and so much more. Flight Deck, your favorite family restaurant. Thanks y'all and God bless.
News. I'm Keith Peters reporting forecasters say millions of people in the central United States could see powerful storms today, including long-track tornadoes, hurricane-force winds, and baseball-sized hail. The National Weather Service forecasts that much of Oklahoma and parts of Kansas are at the greatest risk of severe weather. The National Weather Service's Storm Prediction Center says, in all, nearly 10 million people live in areas that could be affected. Hamas announced its acceptance Monday of an Egyptian-Qatari ceasefire proposal, but Israel said the deal did not meet its core demands and that it was pushing ahead with an assault on the southern Gaza town of Rafah. Still, Israel said it would continue negotiations. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 176 points. NASDAQ rose 192. More details at srnnews.com.
Experience the joys of spring in full glory as you cut through the beautiful waters of Lake Murray on board your brand new boat from Marine 360. Take a look into the awesome selection of top-tier industry brands such as Sea Hunt and Crest. They're showcased at Marine 360. Hey, known for their unwavering commitment to excellent quality and service, Marine 360 has been the leading go-to source for boating enthusiasts since 2007, and they're based right in the heart of the Midlands. The dedicated owners of Marine 360, Brandon and Scott, well, they're on to steer you towards your dream boat. They make it a top priority to ensure you receive the best possible service. But they don't stop at helping you choose the perfect boat. Marine 360's meticulously skilled service center is at your command for any boating related issues. Find Marine 360 on the water on Johnson Marina Road or visit them online, marine360sc.com. To make your purchase even smoother, they offer a variety of financing. You need more information? Don't hesitate to give the guys a call, 749-2360. They're ready to help in making your dream boating experience a reality. Visit marine360sc.com.
I'm David Jolly of the Higgins & Howell Insurance Group. When you think about insurance, I want you to think of me. I want to be your trusted insurance advisor. I'm an independent insurance professional. I have relationships with over 30 insurance companies. I have no quotas to fill. I work for you, and I'll find the best and most economical coverage to protect you, your family, and your business. So when you think about insurance, think of me, David Jolly of the Higgins & Halloran Insurance Group. Call me at 803-850-0054. I look forward to speaking with you very soon.
Are you looking for free checking and free savings? Dave Ramsey here, telling you to go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit. They're not a mega bank that's so big they lose the ability to treat you like a human being. At Palmetto Citizens, you're not just a number, you're a member. Join today at any of their 14 locations or at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
I was thinking about the things that matter to me when it comes to calling the plumber. First, most of us call the plumber out of a need, often a crisis. So you want reliability. Then, we're in a vulnerable place already, so you want someone you can trust, someone who will be fair in their handle things professionally. These are some of the reasons I feel comfortable recommending Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. See, they've been out to my home. They've been out to my brother's home too. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning did such a great job. And maybe this might not matter as much to some people, but they're locally owned. A lot of these plumbing companies you've heard of used to be local, and now they're owned by big national or even international conglomerates. Working with a locally owned company matters. It keeps your pricing down, and the money stays local here in the community. Josh and his team at Franklin makes customer service their top priority. I trust them. You can too. It's during these vulnerable times. Online, it's franklinplumbing.sc.com or call them 799-2222. That's 799-2222.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
All right, time that many of you wait for every week, especially the women in our audience, because they just want to hear his sexy voice. As we welcome in Coach Jim Toman, just a bit outside, I should mention that Clemson's Blake Wright, ACC Player of the Week, and why not? What a week he had, and some unbelievable numbers. 6 hits, 10 runs batted in, 7 runs batted in on 4 hits in the second game of the doubleheader against Georgia Tech. 9 of his 10 RBIs throughout that day, Friday, came with 2 outs. He's hitting .335 with 55 runs scored. Going to earn some All-American honors for sure. So we welcome in Coach Jim Toman, just a bit outside to talk some baseball here on Sports Talk. Welcome in, sir.
How you doing, guys? You doing all right?
We're doing great. How are you coming off the baseball weekend?
Doing good, man. I was actually got a chance to see Campbell play at UNC Wilmington on Saturday, and I drove down and did a little fishing in Columbia, looking for a house down there. The housing market is pretty dang good in Columbia, and I might move down there. That's where 2 of my kids are still down there in Columbia. But anyway, I just drove back to Lake Waccamaw, and I'm ready to talk a little baseball.
What you got?
Good weekend.
What you got for us?
The way things are going, we got to start with Clemson again. They keep hanging in there. They are now 36-10, 17-7 in the ACC, which going into last week they were second place overall. Now they're tied with North Carolina for the ACC overall record, and they're obviously still first in the Atlantic, but both of them, UNC and Clemson, are tied at 17-7 for the regular season championship. With I think everyone has 6 games left. Clemson still continues to be in a top 8 national type seed. Their RPI is 4th. They beat Georgia Tech 2 out of 3. They scored a lot of runs. They probably gave up a few too many, but they scored a ton. Just like you said, Blake Wright is having a great year, and that Canuck kid keeps pitching well, the freshman. They go to Charlotte on Tuesday, and then they go to Wake Forest, who's won a bunch in a row again. They're starting to get hot. I think they've won 7 or 8 in a row, and it's at Wake, so that'll be a big test. And then Clemson goes next week, middle of the week, to Coastal. That'll be a big game for Coastal to add to their resume because Coastal's been struggling a little bit. And then Clemson finishes the season at home with Boston College. So right now, 17-7, first in the Atlantic and tied with UNC for the overall. Definitely look like a top 8 national seed, and they're doing it with 2 of their players that are out. So them guys have had a great year, and hopefully they can keep it going. South Carolina, the good news, they won 2 series in a row. I was driving down to Columbia, and we were losing. South Carolina was losing like 4-1 late to Missouri, and I'm like, this can't happen. They cannot lose to Missouri. I know sometimes it's hard to play there, but they were dead last in the SEC, and then all of a sudden I look it up, and it's they scored a bunch late. So that was huge for South Carolina to do that. That gives them a little breathing room in the conference. They're 13-11 now, and we're 13 in the RPI. The record is 32-15. So, every weekend is very important in the SEC, as you know. But we've got a team coming in here that's tied with South Carolina and Georgia, and they got probably the best hitter in the country coming in here. So, if I were a fan, I would get down there and watch them games. And if I was a pitching coach at South Carolina, I would probably walk that guy every opportunity I got. The way I look at it, if we walk that guy, Charlie Condon, he has 33 home runs, which is the most in the BB Core era. And he's, he's hitting 430 or 450. I don't know what he's hitting, but he looks like he could be a Player of the Year candidate. And if he doesn't get a hit in that series, I got to think South Carolina wins 2 out of 3. Therefore, Coach Toman recommends walking that guy at every opportunity that we get.
What would Ray Tanner do? That would be WRTD. What would Ray Tanner do?
Well, you're going to have to call the AD up and get him on your show one day and ask him. But I know he's going to pitch around that guy, and he's going to say that's the guy that we can't let beat us. And, obviously he's the hottest hitter in the country and may get drafted number 1 overall. I mean, he is 6'5" or 6'6" maybe, and weighs 216 pounds. Believe it or not, he was a redshirt as a freshman, so this is his 3rd year, so he's draft eligible. He's a redshirt soft now, but you're looking at probably, the best hitter in the country coming into Columbia. So I would definitely have to sit down for about an hour and figure it out with Coach Kingston and Coach Williams and Coach Lee and try to figure out how are we going to avoid letting this guy beat us. And then the best way to do it is to walk him. And, if the game's, out of hand and we're way up or way down, maybe let them hit. But if the game's on the line or anywhere close, we can't be letting that guy get any hits off of us.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing about Georgia is their leadoff guy is like leading the nation in on-base percentage, and at like .599. His name is Corey Collins, and he's just an on-base machine. We got to make him hit the ball. The guy has 40 walks, and he's been hit 20 times. So he's been on base for free 60 times, between walks and hit by pitches. So that guy, you need to make him hit, and Condon, you need to make him walk, okay, if you can figure that out, the way I look at it. But South Carolina still, because of the last 2 weekends, still got to be a host team, looks like a host team. They got to go to Winthrop. I heard that game at Winthrop Tuesday is sold out. They have UGA for 3 in the weekend, and then they got to go to Tennessee for 3. So the Gamecocks are down to, 7 games. I think the Gamecocks need to win 2 out of 3 at UGA. They don't want to have to go into Tennessee, who's one of the hottest teams in the country, and have to win 2 out of 3. So the Georgia series is going to be very, very important, just like all the SEC games.
Mm-hmm.
They're all important, okay? But if we only go 2-4 down the stretch, we're still 15-15 in the league. We're still probably okay to host. But if we go anything less than 2-4, then that's probably not good to host. But I'm not on a committee, but they have a solid resume right now, and their RPI rank is 13. We got to get Coastal straightened out. They lost 8 in a row against good teams, and 2 or 3 of the games could have went either way. But they're only 27-20, and the committee's got a hard job to do because Coastal's RPI is great. It's 32, but they're like 8th in the Sun Belt Conference at 11-13, and they've lost 8 in a row. But they play UNCG on Tuesday, and then they host Georgia Tech for 3. They host Clemson, which would be a big game for Coastal for their resume, and then they're at Marshall for 3. So Coastal has 8 games left. They're going to be favored in 7 of them, despite losing the last 8. If I were a gambling man, they're going to be favored in 7 or 8 of them games. If they go 8-0 down the stretch, then they're in a regional. If they only go 5-3, it's gonna be tough for that committee. They're going to be on the bubble with some other teams in the state. For instance, College of Charleston is 33-11. They went 2-0 in the week. Their game Sunday against Coastal got rained out, and that hurt them because UNC Wilmington won all theirs. So now College of Charleston is in second place behind UNC Wilmington in the CAA. So the problem with College of Charleston, their record's 33-11, but their RPI is only 54. Okay, you're looking at strength of schedule. Coastal's non-conference strength of schedule is 3. They always play a great non-conference schedule. Coach Gilmore is a guru at that. And I think College of Charleston's non-conference strength of schedule is only 200. So do you take a team 33-11, who's in second place in the CAA at 16-4 with an RPI of 54, or do you give Coastal Carolina credit for playing a really good non-conference schedule and having a 32 RPI? But, they're 7th or 8th in the Sun Belt, which is a really good league. So that's the kind of things the committee is going to have to work on and figure out. And I'm not a guru at all that stuff, but I wouldn't want to be in the room making a decision between a 32 RPI Coastal Carolina squad and a 54 RPI College of Charleston team, because both of them deserve to be in, but sometimes not everyone can get in. There's only 64 teams. Rest of the league, Wofford has a 79 RPI, which is okay. They're 30-15. I think what hurts them is their non-conference strength of schedule as well. So they're going to have to win the tournament in the Southern. The Citadel is RPI is 249. They're 1-17 in the Southern. USC Upstate has a pretty good record at 30, and I think they're 30-15 or 30-18. Can't read my writing, but they're 92 in the RPI, and they're 3rd in the Big South. So once again, they're going to these tournaments play a big role in who's going to regionals. Winthrop has a 232 RPI, and they're like 9th in the Big South. Charleston Southern, 180 RPI. They're 9-9. They're 4th in the Big South. They're 18-26 overall. Presbyterian is interesting because they're over 500, 25-22. Their RPI is really bad at 179, but they're in first place in the Big South at 15-6. You won't get an at-large bid with an RPI 179, but they may get a trophy that says they're the regular season Big South champions. But that's a one-bid league this year, and whoever wins that tourney will go to the regionals. Real quick, wanted to give a little shout out. Number one to Charlie Condon. The guy is just phenomenal. 33 home runs. He broke that record. The other thing is Cole Messina, South Carolina. He's getting in a groove. He had a big week. He was 9 for 14. 2 doubles, a triple, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, and that's a good indicator that South Carolina bats are coming on strong late in the year. So there was no panic at all by Monty Lee. He's got them swinging it better than they have. Messina and Petrie are coming into their own. I like what they did with putting Brindling in the lineup, and that Jackson kid has been very consistent the last 3-4 weeks. Ty Good, the kid from the transfer from College of Charleston, is doing really good in relief. So I like South Carolina, but I did want to mention Cole Messina. He's getting hot. He didn't have a great year so far, but now he's turning it on when it counts. That's all I got today. I will say one last thing. Maryland Eastern Shore, guys, they're still got it going. 0-41. They got 8 games left. And we may be looking at 0-49. I don't know.
No.
They got 8 more chances. And I just hope they can win one. They just lost their last game 10-9.
Oh.
Yeah.
One quick
How about
question. One quick question. Does
Go ahead.
Clemson have enough pitching to get to Omaha? Does Clemson have, because they'll be a national top seed the way it is now, so everything's going to be lined up for them, regional, super regional. Do they have enough pitching to go to Omaha? Or do they need enough pitching? Is their offense so good that they're not going to have great pitching through the tournament?
If you look at the series this year, and they've won an awful lot of 2 out of 3 series, so that's a super regional, okay? They're going to be playing someone in a super. If they got to get out of their regional. They haven't done that in a while. But if you look at their record all year long, they've won in a bunch of different ways. They've hit the ball. They've played defense. They've pitched. They've been one of the most consistent teams in the country. So they're going to be at home in that regional, and they need to buck through and get to that super regional. And then it's best 2 out of 3, which they're really good at, because I don't know how much. Have they lost the series yet this year? 2 out of 3?
NC State, I believe, won the series against them.
That was it. And that was a shocker. But that was a little bump in the road, and now they got it going again. I mean, they're going to be tough to beat. Going to be packed houses at home. And it looks, if they finish off how they're supposed to against Charlotte and then Wake and then Coastal and Boston College, they're going to be hosting a regional. And I would assume they'll be one of the top 8 national, which if they win the regional, they'll get to be at home again. So if there's any year that they're going to get back to Omaha, it's been a while for them, and it's been a while for South Carolina as well.
Mm-hmm.
This would be the year right now. Let's do it.
Well, I'm glad to hear you're moving back to Columbia. I got a house next to mine that's up for sale. You can be my neighbor, and we can sit on the back porch and talk baseball all the time.
Well, let's do it. I don't know where you live, but I'm not rich, so I don't know if I can afford that house next to you.
I
But,
bought I bought the Muschamp house out there on the lake when he left town. It was
I might be able to rent a room at the bottom of Muschamp's house. That's about all I'll be able to do. But maybe someone out there will let the big guy rent free for I'll be the bodyguard or something. I'm a big, strong guy.
You are. But let me know when you're in town.
Anyone looking for someone to rent a spot in their house, and I'll come down to the capital city, and we'll have a blast.
All right, let me know when you're in town. If not, we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you very much, Coach Jim Toman, just a bit outside here on Sport. I learned so much listening to him.
Well, and he brought up the same point that I mentioned about walking Charlie Condon, and I was incorrect. He actually has 35 strikeouts and 33 home runs, so not quite more home runs. But the problem is with that strategy, and it makes sense for a guy batting .459, you really can't let him beat you. But Georgia as a team has hit 122 home runs.
Amazing.
So, I mean, as ridiculous as the numbers are for Condon, he's got guys that can help him in that lineup if you try and pitch around him, because teams have. He's walked 41 times.
All right, to the recruiting report we go tonight here on Sports Talk. It is brought to you by Seawells. Got that special event coming up, maybe a wedding reception, a birthday party, an anniversary gathering, a corporate outing, an awards banquet. You want the very best in the catering business. The folks at Seawells, they've been at it for nearly 80 years. I mean, that's a long time to stay in the business, and they've done a great job. Of course, they can handle all your planning and your catering needs at their facility on Rosewood Drive in Columbia, or they'll come to your venue. The website is SeawellsCateringSC.com. Give them a call for more details at 803-771-7385. And don't forget, tomorrow, the Daily Luncheon Buffet, every day, Monday through Friday, from 11 till 2. To recruiting, as I mentioned off the top, offensive lineman Anthony Baxter 6'3", 330 of South Point, one of the state's top prospects in the 26 class. Gave a commitment to South Carolina. He was there with his team. They were there for a practice at the indoor facility, and so while he was there, he committed to Shane Bima, something he wanted to do for a long time. He said in his tweet that from the 9th grade, he knew South Carolina felt like home to him. So he was able to realize that with this commitment. He visited USC for the spring game. He was also in for a spring practice, and he took in a game in November. He also made visits this spring to Clemson and Kentucky. USC was the first program to offer him in January. Penn State recently offered. He also had offers from Kentucky, Virginia Tech, Duke, East Carolina, Appalachian State, and Charlotte. The Gamecocks now have 3 2026 commitments. Basketball for the Gamecocks, Lamont Paris, final piece to the roster for 24-25 from 6-foot point guard Jamari Thomas, transferring after winning the MEAC Player of the Year honors at Norfolk State. He's a Greensboro native, had recently committed to VCU, but he changed his plans after a weekend visit with the Gamecocks. He began his career at Wilmington. In one season at Norfolk, he averaged 17 points, 4 assists, rebounds, 40% shooter from the floor, 38% from 3, 81% from the line. Most importantly, sounds like he's a pure point guard. He's the third transfer taken by Paris this offseason. Back to football, USC offensive line coach Lonnie Lee taking a close look at offensive tackle Evan Scott, 6'6", 300 of Augusta, for a possible offer. He visited for a junior day in January and was back to watch a spring practice in April. And Teasley visited his school April 29th to talk more in depth with Scott. He said they've been talking for a long time. They're building a relationship. He feels like South Carolina is going to offer him. He was impressed with what he saw on his visit in terms of the campus and the facilities. And he likes Teasley, and he feels good about South Carolina right now. That would be his biggest offer because he has offers from Navy, Arkansas State, Western Kentucky, Bucknell, USF, Appalachian State, and Coastal Carolina. In the last few days, he's also had coaches from Georgia Tech, Georgia State, Kennesaw State, Navy, Charlotte, and Richmond drop by his school. Along with his visits to USC, he also checked out NC State, Virginia, Appalachian State, Georgia Tech, SF. He's not set any officials. 2026 safety Jazavian Currents of South Point, offered by Notre Dame on Monday. And he is one of the top safety prospects in the class. He's got offers from coast to coast, including South Carolina on his offer list. USC target offensive tackle Jalen Gist set an official visit to Maryland June 21st. He has USC down for May 31st and Georgia June 14th. USC and Clemson target offensive tackle David Sanders of Charlotte. He visited Ohio State again over the weekend, kind of did that quietly until word got out. He also visited the Bucs in late March, and he was in Columbus last April as well. So Ohio State certainly has his attention. He has already taken an official visit to USC, and he gives the Gamecocks a strong review from that. In June, he has officials set with Clemson, Georgia, Tennessee, Bama, and Ohio State. Cornerback Greg Thomas of Fort Lauderdale has set an official visit with Clemson for May 31st. He's also scheduled for an official visit to Florida State June 21st. He made make that an unofficial visit to Clemson in early April. Rock Hill wide receiver Malik Clark, offered by Arkansas, also by Syracuse, and by Boston College. There you go with the recruiting report tonight. I should mention this as well. This came out Saturday. College of Charleston basketball picked up a transfer from Green Bay. 6'7", Elijah Jones has signed with the College of Charleston. And there you go with recruiting tonight right here on Sports Talk.
By the way, beef brisket on the menu tomorrow at Seawell's as part of the daily luncheon buffet. So
that's a good thing to know.
In mind.
That's a good reason to get up in the morning. If you got no other reason in your life to get up in the morning, that would be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
To have a reason to go to Seawell's. Tomorrow night on the program, Josh Harris will join us from Darlington. Well, you know, they got to be excited now. It's their time. They are definitely on the clock.
I think they open up the RV lots tomorrow, I believe Josh said. So traffic will be increasing around the PD here the next couple of days. Always fun when race week rolls around here.
And they got a lot of things planned to keep the people entertained, including some, what they call it, laps for charity laps on the track. That's a lot of fun. You got to go do that if you haven't done that yet.
And they stopped by, several of the officials from Darlington stopped by some of the local elementary schools today to drop by donuts for the teachers. I believe this may be National Teacher Week.
Can they make a stop down here to the radio
I
station?
was thinking the same thing, Josh.
You want a donut, Josh, after coming off
some donuts?
Beastie Boys concert?
Listen, man. Krispy Kreme sounds real good right now.
I love a Krispy Kreme.
Yep.
There's nothing
No
wrong with a nice, warm, melted Krispy Kreme. You know, right out of the oven, out of the fryer, whatever they make that thing in. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to tell you before we leave you. Make sure. Tomorrow night, South Carolina at Winthrop. Starting pitchers will be Tyler Pitzer for the Gamecocks, Connor Harris for Winthrop. Clemson and Charlotte have not stated their starting pitchers for tomorrow night. And Avery Nieves of the College of Charleston is the CAA Player of the Week. And did I mention that Messina was the SEC Player of the Week? If I didn't, I should have. Yeah, Cole Messina, Player of the Week. All right, that'll do it. Great night. See you tomorrow.